Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Avatar The Last Airbender Imbalanced Library Edition. So this is the review. Um, so, very, very, very interesting book. So for anybody who doesn't know, this is the continuation following the North and South Avatar, The Last Airbender comic book, which was the farewell to the artists that did the Wrath, did Smoke and Shadows, The Promise, The Search. I just totally did them out of order right there, but he did all of those books, all those comic books, part 1 through 3, and then the library edition, which is part 1 through 3 all together in one book. He did all of them, but unfortunately North and South was the last one. However, they are continuing it with a new artist. However, the story still is continuation of where they previously left off. All existing newer characters are available in this book, as well as new characters that the new author is introducing. So, I'm not going to lie, when I first seen the original cover, I was worried. Now, the original cover for part 1 was this, which looked really clunky, and I was worried that the art was going to take a nosedive compared to the previous art, which, as you can see, these are from the other artists, which kind of looks more like the TV show. But as I found out, the new artist is very good, and it almost looks very, very similar to the old artist. So there's some of the sketches that they show, which are very, very good. And so, look at this right here. Let's just show this right here, like of Katara. Katara looks really good in this. So, very, very well done. I was very, very happy with the storyline. I liked a lot of the stuff that the new artists implemented into this. Obviously, he had supervision with Mike and Brian, but for the most part, this is very good. So there are a lot of names that I'm probably gonna butcher in here. I was trying to get the closest pronunciation, either by guessing or then just using Google Translator, which I'm almost certain a Google Translator is probably wrong on some of these pronunciations, but for some of these names, but nonetheless, that's what I have to go by. So this story is based off of a town called Crankfish Town. I was calling it Cashfish Town, but it was actually Crankfish Town, which I had to change later on. I realized, while I was reading this, that it was actually called Crankfish Town. So Crankfish Town, spoiler to anybody who hasn't watched Legends of Korra, which you should have, is basically modern-day Republic City. So this book right here is basically the setup to what will become Republic City. And it also even gets into problems that occur in Season 1 of Legends of Korra, which pits the benders against the non-benders. So they're in the new town, and basically, Toph is basically wondering, because she's in a factory, right? She's in a factory, or she owns a factory, and she's wondering where are all the benders. So Shitoru, I believe that's how you say it, Shitoru basically said that they all left. They basically all left because they're not getting as much pay. The wages, are, not as good. So they're paying non-benders to do it because of the way the technology is. So non-benders are getting it. And so this is what the conflict is in this. So there's anarchy. There is basically benders destroying non-benders' home. Even the Avatar's trying to help non-benders, but she doesn't want it. Avatar's trying to give peace. Like I said, I'm trying to show this. He's trying to give peace, but they're not having it. I do like the author's choice for the villains in this. I think it was very, very different and a very, very interesting choice. So these were new characters that the new author introduced. And what I liked about him is that he decided, well, we're going to introduce an earthbender villain, okay? Which is really good because we typically, throughout the Avatar series, seen firebenders being the villains, and we only seen really women in terms of women being villains, like Azula. Azula was like the nutcase, firebender. But now we get to see a female earthbender that's a villain. And that's what's going to happen in this story. So the villain, who is actually a councilman member in disguise because there is a conflict, Sokka wants to see Zuki, but doesn't end up having to be able to see her because they have to go to this councilman meeting, and they basically are fighting over like what they should do, to help non-benders, to help benders. Ultimately, Avatar Aang feels he proposes to come up with a police force. So everyone pretty much agrees that there should be a police force once Aang comes up with it. They pretty much all agree on this, that there should be this. And it gets passed easily. But one of the councilmen, which we'll get into her later, she proposes that, she's already got a security force that can do this. But she's saying, well, they're only benders. It's like, once we get everything all rectified, we'll hire non-benders to do this. We find out, of course, she's plotting. In reality, she is just a bender advocate, basically, and her name, which also I want to also show this too, because Top Bayfong, Sam Bender, just so everyone knows. Well, that was actually metal bending. That was debris, but we'll get to the sand bending feat that she does later on. That was actually metal bending debris of herself. By the way, Toph Beifong in this book is a boss. Like, she is like the star of this entire book. Like, she is a boss. There are so many epic moments of Toph Beifong kicking ass in this story. It's not even funny. Like, she stole the show in the RAF, but she steals the show in this too. Like she was playing detective. She discovered like the vibrations. Look at this right here. Look at this right here. Like, this is a boss right here. Can you guys see that? This is a boss right there. Look at that. That's Top Beifong for you. There were so many feats in here that she does. So many feats, man. Like, oh my god. We just need Toph Beifong to learn how to lava bend. Like they need to make a story where she can lava bend, so we can all say that she's a lava bender now. Like, I know there are people saying, well, she can't learn how to lava bend or whatever. It's like a special skill. I don't agree with that. I think that is something... I think that's just something anybody can learn as an earthbender. It's just like with the sandbenders. The sandbenders, there were, if you remember in Avatar: The Last Airbender, there were specific you know, sandbender dressing up people. But that didn't mean that Toph couldn't learn how to sandbend, and she did. Even though she had said that stuff was fuzzy to her, she learned how to sandbend. She sandbend Bossing Say in book 3, or she made a sand-bending castle, Bossing Say. And also in this very, very story, she also sandbends as well. She sandbends a castle. I wish they would use it in battle, because so many people think that Toph can't sandbend because she never uses it in battle, which is a stupid argument. I heard the Gara wankers said this a lot too, that she can't sandbend, which isn't true. Toph is a boss in this whole thing. So here are the sisters, who are the villains, part of the villains. So one is Ryu, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and the other one, how do you say it? So I might have to go to Google again. Is Yolene? I think that's how you say it. That's how I was saying when I read it. Yelling. Okay, so Yelling. Okay. They're the sisters, and they're like invading and trying to basically destroy stuff. And then the mother, who's the councilman, one woman who proposed the police force, or proposed her security team to be the police force, is Lillian. So this is the big bad evil person. I'll try to show as much as I can. It's very, very hard. So there were a lot of twists and turns. They had to plot everything. Toph pretty much figured out a lot of this stuff based on the vibrations. So she knew that the sisters were in on it. And so that she kind of knew that the mother was involved. And so Toph, knowing that she knew who these people were, because, she, basically, the Earthbender, Yulian, basically said that, oh, she's so much better than her, and she was like, yeah, no, you're not, I'm a metal bender, and I'm better than you, and, she basically played around with it. We also found out that Ryu, the sister, was actually a non-bender, which is very, very interesting, and very, very interesting indeed from the first part, because she was very introduced as a villain, and she was introduced as someone that was all side for this, and then they reviewed this in book 2, or chapter 2 of this book, that, yeah, she's a non-bender. Which is very, very interesting, because, again, according to the reads here from the artists, is that she is a non-bender, but she is in a family of benders. So pretty much her entire family is majority benders. So she got the wrong side of the foot, on the wrong side of the gene, basically, here. But yet she is basically going along with this whole bending, revolution. Which, I don't even know how she would put up with this for this long. But basically, that's kind of how they go into this stuff. So Toph agrees to basically train this Earthbender, Yolene, and she basically, Toph's basically playing around with her. She's not going to actually teach her how to metal bend. She just basically wants information. And she eventually gets the information. And she ends up becoming double agent. Oh, yeah, and Suki does make an appearance. Interestingly enough, despite Zuki being here, and, Sokka and Zuki hugging and whatnot, you can clearly see that Toph is jealous. Like, there is actual multiple times where she is jealous that Zuki is in here. So I am very curious with this whole thing with Toph, because I mean, we've seen this in the anime, or we've seen this in the original series, that Toph had some type of feelings for Sokka. But obviously Sokka is with Zuki. Also, Zuki is revealed to be a chi blocker, which the artist hints at the fact that it was probably Ty Lee that taught her this ability. This is very significant later on in the story. So, yeah, that does happen. It makes sense because, Ty Lee is a Kyoshi warrior now. Even though she kind of knew how to defend herself without chi blocking, since she was a Kyoshi warrior, she knows how to chi block now, which gives her a huge edge. So Toph Beifong basically puts everything back together, or puts back her entire factory that was damaged, and yeah. So then we get to them basically training, which she doesn't actually train her to metal bend. There's Toph basically sand bending. She is in fact sanding. You can see that she's bending on the hand right there. That is sand bending. Because people keep still saying that Toph can't sand bend, which still amazes me to this day that Toph can't sand bend somehow. Even though she's been doing it multiple times now. So Toph eventually gets the password because she basically pretends to be interested in this whole bending coup. So in the meantime, since everyone got the password now from Toph, they basically decide they're going to disguise themselves. Yes, somehow Sokka has his mustache still. Also, one thing I really thought was interesting is this right here. This is Aang disguised as basically Spike Spiegel. So a little nod to Spike there from Cowboy Bebop. I mean, it's clear as day. The hairdo looks exactly like Spike's. Just putting that out there. Oh yeah, and Katara dressed it up like an Earth Kingdom person. Then again, she's dressed up as a Fire Nation person, so it's not really that much of a surprise. So they go to the raid, they basically talk about this, and Toph, being the boss that she is, after she finds everything out, and they basically say, oh, don't worry, she's on our side, Toph basically says, no. And she basically says, screw you all, even though she says she's under arrest too. And basically, she's like, actually, no. Oh, and you're under arrest, by the way, too. Like I said, Toph was like the star of this, and like all the other people were like, Team Avatar was just like, oh no, because they wanted to kind of get out of there, and like Toph was not having it. So then basically Toph beat the crap out of them. They all like had the upper hand on the benders, and they basically captured her, Lillian. But this is also the first time where they realize that, she's a non-bender, so they confront her and basically say, hey, why are you defending these bending actions when you're a non-bender? And she doesn't really have an answer for that. And Ty Lee chi blocks the bender, the sister, Yolian. So they get away. The sister gets the other sister away, but they do get the mother. They trap them. And so then she's in the cage. Then they... she's basically upset about everything. she's starting to say, let her capture you, I'm not a bender. She's like, all pissed off because she is a bender. And, it's really kind of, a good character development for Ryu, because Ryu is basically, this non-bender who is basically defending her family's actions of being benders and basically putting down non-benders, except for her, only because they're related. And then that moves into part 3. Toph and Guitar kind of have a disagreement. Toph basically insists to Aang that she needs to lose her bending because of what she did. Katara is like hesitant on that. She doesn't think that she should lose her bending for a crime like this. Because it only had been done to one person, and that was Fire Lord Ozai, who wanted to destroy the world. So she didn't feel that this crime was good enough. So Katara and Aang basically talk, and they basically don't know like what they're gonna do, because again, Aang doesn't know if he should do it to her. Eventually, you get the Benders back, who basically attack everybody. You got Zuki, who's defending. Not to mention, she's also chi blocking. Eventually, the Benders would win this, and they would free the mother. But ultimately, the non-Benders really won this war because they realized that, hey, Zuki knows how to chi block, so we're going to teach you how to chi block. Or they ask, and they're basically saying, yeah, I'll teach you how to do it. I'll teach you how to do it. I won't be able to make you a professional, but I will be able to teach you the basics. And they really learned the basics pretty fast in this story, which was really interesting that they learned them that quick. They get so then the sisters and the mothers get into an argument. Ryu basically points out, I'm not a bender, I don't have these abilities. So this is where she is like starting to resent the mother, because it's like, hey, what the hell, I'm a bender, or I'm not a bender. So eventually we get Ryu basically joining the side of the non-benders. And she actually goes to Sokka and Zuki, and basically, says she, doesn't like the fact that she has to go against her family. She loves her mother and sister, but she's not a bender. So then she basically asks to be taught how to learn how to chi block. She basically asks to learn how to chi block, which Zuki does. So then we get into the final climax of the battle, and that is basically them fighting the Benders. So the non-Benders, as well as Team Avatar, basically fight them off, and it's a really good battle. And like I said, the artworks are very, very well done. In the end, they are all trapped by Toph's, moving around the maze. They basically outsmarted the Benders, because pretty much these Earthbenders do not know how to metal bend. Since Toph was the first person to metal bend, so the only people that know how to metal bend is right now at the moment is her and her students, who are not in the story. Toph also picks up some modern day tactics. I don't know if I showed the page, and I don't know if this page comes up. I may have skipped it, but there was a page where Toph does actually show where she takes like a metal bar, and she starts whipping it, which is basically what we see Lin Beifeng do with the police force. So that is something that, again, Toph comes up with, which we see here in this story. In the final battle, Toph would take out Yaoyin. Oh no, not Lillian. Lillian's the mother. Yulian. Yulian, right? Yeah, Yulian. And so Toph would win, as well as the non-benders would win this battle. And basically, they would put the mother and, I believe, yeah, the mother and the bender would be under arrest. Oh, here it is right here, by the way. So here it is with Toph. I don't know if you guys can see that. No. I think it's on the other page. There it is right there. Toph with the rope. Now, that's not an actual metal rope, but it does, I think, lead to the groundwork of her learning how to do a metal bending rope, because we see Lin Beifeng do that all the time with the police force, instead of using handcuffs in Avatar: The Last Airbender. So this might have been where Toph decided to come up with this. In the end, Sokka is the one who saves the day when she is distracted, because she had gotten distracted by other people, and that gave her capitalizing. But then Sokka comes in and uses the boomerang, and then you see kind of a little touching moment again with Sokka, with Toph kind of blushing and punching Sokka. A lot of people have rumored of Sokka possibly being one of Toph's other kids, Suin, and this kind of supports that theory. I'm still not willing to bet that Sokka is in fact related to Toph's Suin kid. A lot of people have brought up, well, their skin is very similar, but I still am more in the belief that Zuki is going with them. But a lot of people have pointed this out, as well as some of the other things that Toph has done. So there is still a possibility. I don't know why Nickelodeon or even Mike and Brian have revealed this yet. I guess they just want to keep this in-house. But it's just something really weird that I just don't understand why they're not putting this together with when we got Legends of Korra and we got all this other stuff coming out and being revealed. I don't know why they're just kind of... I guess they just want to keep teasing us with the comic books. But even when Nickelodeon recently made a video of like Toph Beifeng's family tree, they would not reveal what was going on here in terms of who Suin's kid is. So it really kind of just bugs me. I guess they just want to keep something a mystery. I mean, we already know Aang and Katara are together, but I guess they just want to keep shit a mystery thing so people will keep buying the comic books. But honestly, I think keeping this a secret really wouldn't change anything. I think people will still buy the comic books regardless. But it's just something I think they just want to keep a mystery. But yeah, I do think this was interesting. And there's multiple different scenes of, Toph having a huge interest in Sokka. It's clear as day. And it's really interesting because, again, they don't really mention it at all in the artist or the artist commentary. So, yeah. Ultimately, Aang goes in the Avatar state, and he literally was ready to basically take away her bending, because of how much of a dick she was being. Especially, literally almost taking out her daughter, too. And she basically told Aang, do it. It's the only way she'll understand. Like, she's basically telling her, take away her bending. She's telling the daughter, Ryu, is basically telling Aang to take away her mother's bending because she's abusing it. And she almost does, but Katara basically tells her no. And Katara basically prevents Aang from taking away her bending. So She still gets her bending, but she goes to jail. She's placed under arrest, as well as the older sister gets placed under arrest. And that's them in their cell right there. So they're done. I don't know how long their sentence will be, but yeah, that's basically how it's working. And you get a little kind of ship moment with Guitar and Aang holding hands. We all kind of know that already. And basically, they just basically say at the end, right here, they basically say, I also think the city needs a better name. And Sokka says, I'll get right on it right away. So I'm just going to assume that Sokka comes up with the name Republic City based on that comment. So, yeah, Sokka confirmed comes up with the name Republic City. So, yeah, and like I said, some of the artworks here, very, very cool. I like this design of Katara without her, traditional, her traditional, like, coat on or whatever. I don't think they ended up not, I don't think, used that, but I think that would have been really cool if they did. But at least they show it. A lot of the designs were very, very well done. I was very, very impressed with it. Like I said, I showed this kind of earlier, but yeah, guys, it's very, very good. Very, very well done. And you got Crankfish Town, which will be modern-day Republic City. And yeah, that's the end. I like this. I rented this at my library. Kind of coincidence. Library edition. Rented it at my library. Very, very good book if you guys want to pick it up or rent it at your local library. A lot of libraries carry this stuff. That's how I get all these, read all these books. Yeah, I very much really was impressed with this. They have really given no indication of when the next book will come out or what it's going to be called. This could be due to the pandemic or it just could be due to delays. But I'm very, very happy with this. I'm very interested to know what they're going to do next. Like I said, Team Avatar really got a lot of time in here. But personally, I think Toph was the star of this book. Like, she literally had some really cool moments. I mean, not to take anything away from Aang here, but I felt like Toph was the star of this book, just like the Raph comic books. Aang got more time to shine in North and South. Same with Katara and Sokka. But in this book, it was really mostly Toph. Obviously, you had some new villains in there introduced, and Aang, obviously by default because he's the main character. But he was mostly peacekeeper, where Toph was very aggressive and really establishing, the police force and whatnot. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it is. Now chi blocking is going to be more common for non-benders because it's something that they need to know to keep them in line with the benders, because chi blocking can take away someone's bending temporarily for several hours. So it's something that it definitely helps, and this is how Republic City becomes Republic City. So I do like this book, and I'm glad they did this for Imbalance. Let me know what you guys think of this. Did you guys like this? Do you think the old artist was better, or do you think it's just equally the same? Let me know what you guys think. Overall, I like this book. Very good story. I like the new characters. I'm very curious to see what they're going to do with the new characters, because they did leave Lillian's bending free. I'm very curious of what they're going to do, in terms of what her sentence will be. How long will an Avatar sentence will be? Will that be a life sentence, or will it be sooner? I mean, obviously Azula got out free, so I mean it can't be any different than her because Azula freaking did a lot of crazy shit, and she's now out free, right? I wonder if they're going to free the older sister because she got arrested as well too because she was a bender and went along with her mother. Obviously Ryu's free, but I am curious if they're going to do anything with that in future stories. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video or my videos, please subscribe. Discord link in the description for my Discord server. And that's about it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Again, really good story. I'm out. I'm the I'm the SS Ultimate Goku. I'm out of here. Peace.